Welcome back to Reddit Story Time. Today we have 4 incredible stories. Let's dive right in.
Story number 1, grinding during the mother-son dance. Every couple imagines their wedding day will be perfect. They plan every detail, choose the right music, invite the right people. But sometimes the people you invite are the ones who bring the chaos. This story comes from a bride who got married in January, and by all accounts, the wedding itself was beautiful. The best night of her life, she called it. But there was one moment that cast a shadow over everything. Groom's mother had passed away when he was young. This was a profound loss that shaped who he was, and he wanted to honor her memory at the wedding. So for the mother-son dance, he chose a song that had meant a lot to them, a song called Counting Blue Cars. He gave a small, heartfelt speech at the beginning, talking about his mom. People were tearing up. It was one of those raw, genuine moments that weddings are supposed to be about. The guests got up to dance and celebrate her memory. It was beautiful, and then the bride looked to the left side of the room. There was her younger brother, 21 years old, and his girlfriend Rebecca, who was 35, and they were grinding on each other during the mother-son tribute dance, while the groom was honoring his deceased mother, just completely going at it on the dance floor like they were at a nightclub at 2 in the morning. Now, you should know the history here. The brother had originally said the relationship with Rebecca wasn't serious, so she wasn't going to be invited. But then things apparently got more serious, and the bride extended an invitation. Before the wedding, there was a family dinner so Rebecca could meet everyone. They showed up 2 hours late, stayed 45 minutes, and left. At the rehearsal, the brother was nowhere to be found. When he finally showed up with 10 minutes left, his excuse was that he'd been doing goat yoga with Rebecca. Goat yoga. At the actual wedding, the couple treated the entire event like it was their personal date night, culminating in the grinding incident during what was supposed to be the most emotional moment of the evening. The brother and Rebecca are no longer together. Some relationships are just chaos magnets, and some people have absolutely zero awareness of the moment they are in. A man honored his dead mother, and his brother couldn't keep it in his pants for 3.5 minutes.
And the verdict, zero self-awareness.
Story number 2. The bride who banned conversations. Weddings are supposed to be celebrations. People fly in from across the country, they dress up, they bring gifts, and they catch up with family and friends they haven't seen in months or years. The conversations at a wedding are part of the joy, the laughter, the stories, the reconnections. Unless, apparently, you're at this particular wedding. A guest attended as a +1, so they didn't know many people there beyond their girlfriend. The ceremony was lovely. The cocktail hour was normal. Then dinner started, and people began doing what people do at weddings, talking, catching up, sharing stories. 2 guys at a nearby table were talking about football. Normal wedding conversation, right? Not according to the bride. She materialized at their table with what the guest described as a really eerie smile and announced, "No sports tonight. Let's keep the conversations about the wedding." Everyone laughed awkwardly. The guys laughed too, the way you do when someone says something so bizarre you assume it's a joke. But she wasn't joking. About 10 minutes later, she stopped an older couple who were talking about a cruise they'd just returned from. The bride literally said, "You'll have plenty of time to talk about holidays later. Today is about us." Someone started talking about buying a house. The bride redirected them. Someone told a work story. The bride appeared, like Voldemort, and steered the conversation back to the couple. When the guest's girlfriend started catching up with a cousin she hadn't seen in years, the bride came over and suggested they share their favorite memory of the couple instead. She was sucking the joy out of her own wedding, methodically, conversation by conversation, like some kind of social vampire who couldn't bear the idea that anyone might be enjoying something that wasn't about her. On the drive home, the +1 asked their girlfriend if they'd imagined the whole thing. It was that weird. The girlfriend's response was chilling. No, she did this at the engagement party too. Which raises the real question, how is anyone still friends with this person? A wedding is a party you throw for your guests. It's not a hostage situation where everyone is required to talk about you for 6 hours straight. If you need that level of attention, maybe skip the wedding and just stand in front of a mirror.
And the verdict, absolute bridezilla.
Story number 3, the karaoke dictator bride. Some people hear karaoke and think fun. This bride heard karaoke and thought, "This is my concert and all of you are my unwilling audience." The wedding started normally enough. Nice ceremony, nice dinner, standard stuff. Then came the entertainment, and that's where everything went sideways. The bride announced they'd be doing karaoke. Now, the venue had a large dance floor room and a few smaller side rooms. A reasonable person would assume karaoke would be in a side room, optional, for anyone who wanted to participate. Nope. It was the only entertainment for the entire evening in the main room, and participation was apparently mandatory. The bride kicked things off, picking an obscure song that nobody knew. She wasn't trying to sound good. She was just belting it out at full volume into the single microphone. Yes, they had one microphone. That detail matters. After her song, things escalated. She started demanding her bridesmaids come up and sing. And when I say demanding, I mean she started shouting at them through the microphone in front of everyone. One brave bridesmaid came up and picked a song, but the bride was still holding the mic and announced, "No, let's sing this song together," overriding the song choice with one she wanted. Another obscure track nobody knew. For the next several songs, the bride was a one-woman karaoke dictatorship. She demanded victims from the audience, hogged the single microphone, and belted out lyrics badly while her conscripted backup singers stood behind her looking like they'd rather be literally anywhere else. Guests started escaping to the outside area just to get a break from the noise. This was in November, by the way. People chose to stand outside in the cold rather than endure more karaoke. Eventually, the groom managed to coax the bride away from the microphone and guided her to the bar. There was a brief, merciful pause where a playlist took over and normal humans got to sing. A group went up and did islands in the stream, passing the mic around like civilized people. It was nice. But then the bride returned, more intoxicated than before, screamed that she loved the current song, ran up, and physically snatched the microphone from another group mid-performance. She just grabbed it out of someone's hand and started screaming along. The night ended abruptly when the bride got so drunk she started falling over and eventually threw up. The groom and bridesmaids had to carry her to bed before 9 p.m. The guests stayed, enjoyed the rest of the night, and finally got to do karaoke in peace. The groom never participated in karaoke at all.
And the verdict self-destructed.
Story number 4. 2 guests wore white to the wedding. There is one rule of wedding etiquette so universally known that even people who have never been to a wedding understand it. You do not wear white to someone else's wedding. It is the most basic, uncontroversial rule in the entire book of social etiquette. White is reserved for the bride. Everyone knows this. And yet, at this wedding, not 1 but 2 women decided to show up in white dresses. 2. The bride didn't say anything in the moment. She kept her composure, which is more restraint than most people would have. But she was absolutely not okay with it. Here's what makes it worse. One of the women in white had actually asked the bride's sister about the dress beforehand. She knew enough to check. The sister told her plainly it would definitely not be okay with the bride. She suggested the woman should ask the bride directly. A reasonable person, upon hearing that the bride would not be okay with it, would choose a different outfit. This person heard that information, decided not to ask the bride, and wore the white dress anyway. That's not a misunderstanding. That's not a fashion mistake. That is a deliberate choice to wear something you've been explicitly told is inappropriate. There's a reason the no white rule exists. It's not about the color itself. It's about respect. The wedding day is one of the few occasions where one person is the undisputed center of attention, and wearing white is a deliberate attempt to redirect that attention. It's a power move, whether the wearer admits it or not. The bride and her photographers discussed having the women removed from all the photos or editing the colors of their dresses. Because when you wear white to someone's wedding, you don't just disrespect them in the moment. You insert yourself into their memories permanently, showing up like a ghost in every photograph. 2 women, 2 white dresses. 0 respect for the bride on the one day that was supposed to be about her. Some people don't want attention until someone else is getting it, and then they can't help themselves.
And the verdict, deliberate disrespect.
That's all for today. If you enjoyed these stories, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more. See you next time.